Yo, we are here for another episode of Bleav in Kentucky, the Bleav Podcast Network, number one podcast network for professionals. My name is Vinny Hardy, and we are about to talk some UK football because it's that time of year already. And we got from BigBlueExpress.com the self-titled football guy at Big Blue Express. We got Adam Griggs here, man. Adam, how you doing?
Doing good, Vinny. Thanks for having me on.
Man, I appreciate you hopping on to do it. And it's, first part of August. We got media day tomorrow, fan day Saturday. It's almost, it's your wheelhouse right now.
Yeah, it's the fun times. It's going to be a lot of fun just knowing that Kroger Field is actually going to have some people on the ground there, and some things are going to be going on. I'm excited about it. And we've had a few cool days here lately in Central Kentucky, so it's sort of, I don't know. It's had just a great feel. It's like a gift from God getting that cool weather, knowing football's right around the corner, and I love it. Live for this.
As hot and muggy as it is in July and usually August, sometimes I'll be out mowing the grass or something, and like a leaf will fall, and I'm like, whoa! Feels like it's 93 degrees right now, but there's a fall moment right there, and then you get those crisp mornings when it's 58 degrees, and even though it's the dead of summer, you're like, ooh, it's almost here,
Right.
right around the corner. So you gonna be at the media day, fan day stuff Friday or Saturday? You gonna be able to attend any of that or?
No, not myself. I'm not gonna be able to be there personally. I wish I could get there. If for nothing else to get some pictures, because last year we didn't get credentialed for COVID. So all my pictures, I wrote an article today and looked for a picture to put up, and I had to go back from a couple years ago. So I need to get some fresh stuff. Get Amy out there to take some new ones.
Yeah, yeah. Speaking of, y'all go to bigblueexpress.com. You wrote a new piece talking about the schedule layout. You kind of broke it down into a few different portions. Tell everybody, what your the inspiration was, or your thinking behind the way you set it up.
Yeah, well, I always every time I sit down and look at the schedule every season, I think a lot of Kentucky fans probably do this too, but you sit down, you look at it, and you try to find, is there 6 wins on this thing so we can have a bowl game? But our standards are just getting higher and higher at Kentucky. Stoops has done a great job with the program, and we're having some expectations, even coming off of a what you might consider a down year last year, a weird year. But just sitting down and looking at it this season, I was really excited because what I see is 4 lockdown wins right away, and then I see a few wins that look like they're probably going to be a challenge, but but I think they're going to happen. I think a big deal is going to happen with Missouri. We're going to find out kind of what we're made of in that game because Missouri's got a good team this year. If we can beat Missouri, I feel like we're going to be able to beat South Carolina when we go on the road to them in our fourth game. So we could be going up against Florida at 4-0, and that's not like some lofty dream like UK fans. We're always optimistic. That's a realistic thing if we come out and play well against Missouri. So I really feel like breaking that down. The only game I see that Florida's going to be a tough game for sure, and Georgia's going to be a very difficult game. We could play lights out, and Georgia make a couple mistakes, and they still find a way to beat us. That's just the way our matchup is with them every time. But there's no reason to think that there's not 8, 9, maybe 10 wins regular season on there, even if we drop a game or two that we shouldn't.
Yeah, that's like you said. That's where the program is elevated to, and this year the schedule even kind of plays into it. So you got, like you said, you got it all working if you take advantage of it.
Yeah, it's like a burnt offering, a golden egg just being laid in front of us with this schedule, and then having this team, and then also having a new offensive coordinator coming in. It seems like it's the perfect storm for excitement. But I, as a UK fan, I've gotten myself hyped up a lot over the years. I just feel like this time I'm hyped up, and I have a little bit of a reason. I've got a little, backbone behind it too that can say there are some things adding up for this program. We're just
Hmm.
going to keep getting better.
Now, I'm I'm not. I'm trying to be objective too, but I still think Missouri isn't as far along as everybody says. I know they beat LSU last year, and that kind of catapulted them in everybody's consciousness because LA was the champs and Missouri beat them, and it was like, oh man, and it's Drinker's first game and all that. And
Mhm.
they beat Kentucky last year. You know, tip your hat, they won 20-10. But we all know what was going on in and around and leading up to that game on Kentucky side. Can't make excuses, but Missouri won. If they come to Lexington week 2 and win, oh, I'll shut my mouth. But I'm not quite as sold on them as everybody else. I know they're Basilak's a good quarterback and all that, but I'm still just not convinced that they're what everybody thinks they're gonna be.
Yeah, I hope you're right, and I've thought that about teams before, and they come out and play really well. I think it just comes down to coaching and how a team, you know, gels together. So we really don't know. And then that LSU win you're talking about, they ended up not being as valuable as it looked at the time that it happened for them. So it'll it'll be exciting to see. I always think I love the ESPN FPI projections because they give you like the percentage chance that a team might have to
Lose you.
really know where we left off.
We froze up for just a second, but we were talking about um, Missouri's win over LSU at the end of the year not being a quality win. Kind of like the NCAA tournament. Oh, well, that wasn't that great of a win when you look back on it. It's kind of what Missouri's week 1 win against LSU was last year. Oh,
Yeah, it's like a deflating thing. You get excited and then you realize later, it wasn't that good. But yeah, I'm excited to see how some of the other teams in the SEC play out too. It'll be interesting to see Mississippi State. We've got them on the schedule later in the season, and I mean it looks by all calculations that's going to be an easy win for us with the way they played last year. But um, I don't know if they're going to come in with the air raid offense. It doesn't work, at least not in this day and age. I would rather get a win than lose 52-70 or whatever it is that
mm-hmm.
comes up. They score some points, but they look terrible. So it'll be interesting to see how they come out this year too.
Yeah,
I just love SEC football all around. So I always win. There's most of the teams I don't like, and I root against them unless they're playing out of conference. But it's
yeah.
always fun to watch them, see how they develop.
I'm the same way, and I'm not super dig into the numbers stat guy, but I know like Mississippi State, I think averaged just like 42 or 43 yards rushing last year, which that's just I mean you got to do better than that, even if you are an air raid team in the SEC. Um, I know Kentucky hasn't won in Starkville in forever, but like you said, this year it's just year 2 for Leach, and I'm not trying to say this about every other team, but I don't think he's there where he wants to be yet. And thankfully, for Kentucky, they get a bye week before they have to go out there because you come off that 3-game stretch, Florida, LSU, Georgia, take a week off, catch your breath, then go to Mississippi State and after you kind of recharge your batteries a little bit. So I like where the bye was in the schedule for Kentucky.
Yeah, I think that's an important thing too. That's a good point.
Yeah, and of course, like you said, they're not the same physical beat you to death Mississippi State that they had been under Mullen and stuff like that. So style of play is a little bit different. So that
Yeah,
should fall into one of those easy wins that you
I
wrote
hope so. I hate those cowbells. I want to get that win. Every time you watch a game with them, all you hear is that dull roar of the cowbell
It's
ringing. So
yeah, unbelievable. So with the Liam Cohen coming in, the new offense. Well, first of all, being the football guy that you are you more of an offensive guy or defensive guy? If you had to pick a side of the ball that you lean, or do you like them both equally? Or
I get excited more about defense. That's always kind of been the way. I think that's how my dad, whenever we would watch football together, he would talk about defenses a lot more. So I get a lot more excited watching defense, but I love watching a good offense too. Nothing beats a solid offensive line with a running back that can, a Chris Rodriguez style running back that can pound through it. But I really enjoy defense, so I pay a little closer attention to what's going on that side of the ball.
I get you. And
Yeah.
you mentioned C Rod, had him on this podcast a few weeks ago, and he's just kind of he can't contain his excitement if this offense does what it's supposed to do of him not having stacked boxes to run into, to have just a defense that's playing honest, where they have
Hmm.
to respect the pass. He's excited at the prospect of what this offense could possibly do as far as keeping the box cleaned up a little bit for him.
Oh no, you froze again.
Uh-oh. I still can hear. Maybe I should just keep talking. Can you still hear me? No, what is going on today? Let's see. Yeah, but Chris was just talking about the prospect of having a clean box to run into, and he can't wait. He can't wait.
Yeah, I can imagine how fun that's going to be for him. A lot of that's going to come down on the pressure. We know that if Levis is the QB, which right now it looks like that's who it's going to be, there's always going to be a controversy in Lexington, it seems like. But we right now it looks like it's going to be Levis, and we know he's got the arm. He can sling it. We know we got Wandell and Josh Ali out there receiving. It's going to be a lot of pressure on the two Isaiahs. You got Isaiah Epps. We need a big year out of him as a downfield threat. He's such a nice kid too. He's one of the players I've been around a little bit more at the field, and he's a very nice kid. So I'd love to see him have a big breakout year. And then Isaiah Cummins moving over to tight end to get some catches underneath. Just to expand that and open up that box, like Chris is saying, that'd be really fun for us to watch. I can't imagine him with a head of steam, untouched for the first 10 yards, and then a safety try to step up on him. It's it's going to get ugly.
Yes, for sure. And Isaiah Cummings was already tweeting out the other day, like right after he moved to tight end, this offense is going to be scary. You already saw him tweeting stuff out.
Oh yeah,
What?
yeah. Bring that confidence. I like it.
Absolutely,
Yeah, and I'm
absolutely.
excited to see what Liam Cohen does with it too, because we've always had a good tight end that could catch the ball the last several years, but we always, as Kentucky fans, thought they're just not getting the touches that they should be getting. So
That's yeah.
we got a new offensive coordinator. I mean, it's fresh blood all the way around, so it'll be really fun.
And I think I was trying to. I think I said it the other day. You mentioned Wandale, Josh Ali, and everybody. It's wide open for that third spot. So whoever wants to step up and take it, Dikell Crowders, Donut Drennan, whoever wants it, is there. If for whatever reason nobody really separates, I was kind of making the point that there's more than one way to skin a cat, and you could still get that same production out of the tight end spot because if Cohen's as innovative and creative as we believe he's gonna be, he could dial up stuff for the tight ends if the receivers aren't quite performing the way he would like. You can still get stuff done with the tight end group. Hate to see Keaton Upshaw go down because I think he was just a matchup nightmare. But you still got Bates and Cummins over there, Rig, Dingle, the freshman, that might give him a little chance to get on the field and do something now.
Hmm.
So it's still a lot of guys, still a lot of depth there at tight end.
Yeah, yeah, that's a story all the way around. It seems like there's depth all over the place, other than maybe in wide receiver. But there's, like you said, there's more than one way to skin a cat. So that's a really good point.
Yeah. So we mentioned Isaiah. Um, as far as defense, you know, are you kind of not trying to put pressure on or expect the world, but coming off the edge and bringing heat, is Jordan Wright looking like he's got to be that guy to maybe step up and get some sacks and some pressure?
Yeah, that's going to be the big if factor for the defense. Is I think Jordan Wright's probably as good as opportunities we've got. Josh Pascal could hopefully maybe get some looks at that too, coming off the edge. We all got spoiled a few years back with Josh Allen, obviously. So we're not going to get somebody out there that's got 16 sacks a game. But if one or two of those guys can get 7, 8 sacks on the season, not game, but on the season, that would be just a crucial thing to keep pressure on the quarterbacks. So that's going to be the big if factor, I think, is just quarterback pressure.
No. Now, who do you see? I mean, you can pick defense, you can pick offense, but any facet of the game because we didn't see Jamin Davis doing what Jamin Davis did. Last year we going into the season, he's behind Chris Oates until Oates unfortunately has the stroke. We didn't see Davis coming at all, and then he steps right in and parlays that into being a first round pick. If you had to pick, where'd that guy come from? Do you have any candidates or guys that you might think have that ability?
You know who I would like it to be? I don't know if this is the right pick, but I really like Marquand McCall. He's going to be stepping in for um,
Ohana.
Quentin Bohanna
Yeah.
at nose guard, and he has got just dynamic personality. I think he's maybe 6'3", 380. I mean, just a really big guy. Nickname Bully. Everything is put together for him. He's just a really fun player to watch. But I would really like to see him as the step up guys. Where right now he's not on a draft board at all, and then at the end of the year they're talking like, first, second round possibly for a guy like this. But that's who I'm rooting for it to be, more or
Yeah.
less. I definitely every year I come into the season saying Corker's going to be a big player. I think everybody's caught on to that now. There's no doubt that Corker's going to be an elite kind of player. But I really like Marquand McCall.
Yeah, that would. And I mean, he saw Bohanna every day.
Uh huh.
He backed him up every day, and now he's gonna be playing tonight for my Dallas Cowboys. So if that doesn't
Oh yeah, that's right.
motivate you to be like, whoa, this dude, I backed this dude up, and look, I'm about to watch him tonight. You know, that's
Yeah,
that's that's got to be
he
a lot of motivation for Bully.
you got to think so because the Bohanna work ethic. He saw that firsthand. So you're exactly right about that. And whenever McQuell came in previous seasons, he had, I mean, just tons of energy. Of course, he didn't have to play, as many snaps as Bohanna did. But when he came in, when Bohanna, got knocked up or had to take a snap off, he came in, and living up to his name, Bully.
Yeah, he sure did. He sure did. Now, and as you mentioned how people our age, as Kentucky fans, we've seen so many heartbreakers. We've seen so many deflating losses and stuff like that. And now we're at the point where transfers from big name schools are coming. Gatewood came from Auburn. Boss man Fat Kelvin Joseph came from LSU.
Hmm.
Dare Rosenthal took his cue from Joseph, and now he came from LSU as well. So you bring in Joseph to a line that was already stacked. How do you see is the Darian dynamic at tackle? Who plays left tackle? What do you think they're gonna do there?
I'm not exactly sure, but I mean, he's a big time athlete. We're not used to having that kind of athlete and having that kind of story coming here, but I feel like it's got to be his position to lose at this point. Whenever he takes the field, because that gives you more depth for sure. But he's a big time playmaker in the SEC. We've seen it, so that's got to be his position. I feel like right now
Yeah, it's just the rich getting richer for Kentucky.
it
Kind of like
is. Yeah. And,
we
and
see
and
these
I'll take
Yankees
it all
do
day
that.
long. I love getting the transfers because we see that on the basketball side too. The transfer market, that's as big as recruiting is right now. I'm trying to get the right pieces filled in, and they come in with experience. So, and people will love to bring up like why are they transferring? Did they have off the field issues or did they have grade issues or something like that? I don't care about any of that. I'd love to see somebody get a second, a refresh, just another go at it. Maybe they just didn't mesh well with the coaching staff, or there's a lot of reasons people transfer, but I think it's a positive thing for the athlete and for the school. So I'm
Yeah,
really excited to see Dare come in, see what he can do.
yeah. And this is not even being biased. You mentioned the basketball side and the football side. You could argue that Cal and Stoops have both handled this transfer portal as about as good as anybody. Look who the basketball guys brought in. Look what they did on the football side. As bad as they were in basketball, they kind of fixed all of their issues, and a lot of that was transfers. And now I mean, both of them about as good as you can handle it to me.
That's what I feel like too, and I always wonder how much do Cal and Stoops talk to each other. I feel like they've got to have some sort of relationship where they intermingle a little bit and trade some ideas because they're two completely different sports, but they're basically doing the same kind of thing. So, and they're in a close proximity. So I
Mhm.
feel like maybe they pump each other up a little bit on that sort of thing. I
I
like to
think
think so
so.
anyway.
Yeah,
Imagine them over a cup of coffee or a beer would be fun.
yeah, yeah, for sure. Because Stoops kind of let loose, give him a little cigar and a bourbon, and
Oh yeah,
he kind of
we've seen his
sings.
moves.
Yeah, yeah, he'll loosen up a little bit. He kind of comes off as a little more kind of reserved, but he can chill out and let his hair down a little bit too.
Oh yeah.
Um, I know, the legend Larry Vault. We've read his work for years, seen him forever out there in Danville. I don't know if you saw his article trying to promote Anthony White, who we saw play. He's just our age to be in the UK Athletics Hall of Fame,
Uh
and
huh.
we knew Anthony was putting up numbers and how versatile he was. But then when you read the article, his receiving numbers and that he's not in the Hall of Fame, it just made you think, wow, I thought he already been in, or he definitely should be in very soon.
Right. Yeah, I think we should revisit, players like that more often. I think he was in an era where maybe he got overshadowed a little bit, and we forget about him. The same thing on the basketball side on that too, is of players who, like, we forget about the you remember Wayne Turner, but you don't remember maybe what Hashimu Evans did for a team. So I think he might be that kind of guy that just sort of slid under the radar, but had incredible production.
Yeah,
That's what I appreciate about Larry, though. He really he digs deep, and finds important things like that. He never runs out of ideas.
no, he sure doesn't. And I guess we all remember Couch to Yeast, Air Raid, and I remember Anthony in the backfield, but I just didn't remember him being that potent of a receiver. I don't know why, but he was a double threat for real.
Yeah, yeah, that's always a good weapon to have too. Is one that can a running back that can pop out and take a pass. The eats defenses up. They hate that. 'Cause
Hmm.
they're doing everything just right. You can play just the perfect defense for a play, and then if the running back pops out and picks off 10 or 12 yards on you, it just that deflates a defense.
For sure. And I think if all goes well, we'll probably see a little more of that this year. Cohen talks about getting Rodriguez 25 touches, and some of that emphasis for all the running backs was to be pass catchers out of the backfield. So that'll be a new wrinkle that we'll should be looking forward to this season.
Yeah, and looking forward to seeing Smoke too, and see if he can have. So I feel like he maybe had a little bit of a letdown last season, but to see what he can do and what kind of production he offers, he's such an explosive guy. So that'll just have a one-two punch. It's all about staying healthy, really. That's the name of the game in football is having enough depth to deal with injuries, and I feel like we've got that. But if Rodriguez went down, that would be pretty deflating. So hopefully that doesn't happen.
Yeah, yeah, and you
Knock
get
on wood. I don't want to jinx anybody.
that's right. You get to the point in camp, everybody you just hold your breath. You hope everybody can make it through, and we've seen some losses happen in the past. We've seen Devontae Robinson and Landon Young and things like that. So you definitely everybody just get through these a couple weeks and get to the 1st of September, and then see what we got.
That's
I,
right.
I mentioned C Rob being on here, and if y'all want to, y'all feel free to check out all the past episodes. But he said that as well. Um, he said, when you see me go to the sideline for a break, he said, don't be surprised if I stay over there longer than you think, because McLean, Smoke, all these other guys, he said they can produce as well, and he said he was even excited to see what they could do. So he's even cheering for them. The guys in the same room as him, and he's knows that they're capable when he does have to come out. There's some capable guys filling in for him.
Yeah, it's a natural born leader saying things like that, not worrying about his own position, but actually rooting on his teammates.
Yeah,
That's what you really like to see. I don't know if you saw this. Benny Snell um, was saying, don't compare people to C Rod, or don't compare C Rod to me, but not because he thought C Rod's inadequate or anything. He's like, he's his own player. That's a man right there. So don't compare him to me. He is C Rod. That was a quote he kind of came out with a month or so ago, and I really like that, seeing the support from players now, and then also support from players that are in the league, because I think Snell might be the guy going up against your Cowboys tonight.
yeah.
I don't know if Snell's playing or not. I think he's. I saw Justin Rowland tweet that he was banged up, but
It's a
um,
lot of former cats tonight.
yeah, I think it's
Snell,
four or five
Kevin
of them that are going to be
Taylor,
in there.
and yeah, a bunch of T.J. Carter. I think 3 for Pittsburgh and 2 for the Cowboys. Speaking of NFL, are you a big NFL
Oh
guy, and
shoot,
who's
you
your
froze
favorite?
up.
Speaking of the NFL, who's your favorite team? Are you a big NFL guy, and who's your favorite team?
I love the NFL. I've always been a Bengals fan. It's
Oh,
full of disappointment, and it's the team that I can't help but like, because I grew up loving the Reds too. I'm just about 100 miles from Cincinnati, here in Richmond, Kentucky. So it's a place where I don't get up to a lot of games, but I get to go up some. So I just kind of grew up. I was in third grade whenever Boomer and the Bengals lost the Super Bowl the second time to the 49ers.
man.
So I remember them being in a Super Bowl. I remember the Icky Shuffle. Um,
Mhm.
and now with Joe Burrow there, I feel like if he can stay healthy, there's a lot of potential maybe for them to give a little bit of a threat. And as a Bengals fan, I was really excited. I went to a Reds game a couple months ago, towards the beginning of the season, and I pulled up to the hotel, and there was a guy sitting there on a bench smoking the fattest cigar I've ever seen, and it was Ocho Cinco himself. And I told my kids, I was like, "That's Ocho Cinco," and I
Uh,
was just sitting there staring at him, trying to work up the nerve to go up and say hi to him, but I chickened out. So you always think like, "Oh, I'd be cool. I could hang out with Ocho Cinco," but no,
yeah,
I totally claimed up. I know he saw me, trying to like sneak a little picture of him.
man, that's awesome. That was an entertaining dude right there, man. On and off the field.
Oh yeah, yeah. I loved him.
Now, what do you think about Texas and Oklahoma coming in? Got to, it's dying down a little bit now, but that was the talk for the past few weeks. So, what do you think about them sliding over whenever it is? I don't see it being 2025, but somewhere between now and the next 4 years. What do you think about them coming in?
Do you think they're going to come earlier than
I
2025?
I
I
I
saw
don't.
your tweet earlier, about Sankey getting the extension.
Yeah, I mean, his extension is to at least 2026. They're coming in as of now, July 2025.
Hmm.
I don't see him staying in the Big 12 for that long with all this SEC money. And this happened so quick. This was in the works. They've been keeping it quiet. Boom, SEC Media Days. Here it is. And now we're just going to wait 4 years for it to be completed. So, mm,
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I think that they're going to come sooner. I don't know how the contracts are set up. I'm not that into the knowledge of it, but I know like EKU here in Richmond, they recently left the OVC, and they've been in the OVC since like the late 40s or something. They've been like a founding member of it, and they went to the Atlantic Sun. But in their contract, they had to pay $1 million exit fee, and they're actually getting sued by the OVC because they say they don't have to pay it. But if it comes down to money, and that's if they break their contract with the Big 12, Oklahoma and Texas, if it comes down to money, they're going to be making so much money in the SEC that they're just going to be, they're going to weigh that out and leverage that, and just pay is what I think. So I see him coming sooner. As far as being excited about it, if a team's going to come into the conference, I love that the SEC is the powerful conference. Like in football, it's better in basketball than it's been in a long time, and in football, it is the conference. So I say bring it if it's going to be a good team that's going to add quality to it. But then, like stopping and thinking about it, thinking about Kentucky's schedule, thinking about adding an extra game of SEC play. We saw what happened last year when we had to play 10 SEC games. We it wasn't good
mm,
because there's just not enough. We got to throw in, our Louisiana Monroes or our Eastern Michigans. We got to throw those teams in there just to get us some wins once in a while. So it's going to be a big boost of strength to the conference because Oklahoma is going to come in, and their program is already stacked and loaded. And I always usually I don't root against Oklahoma. I kind of always liked them when Badette went there. I was excited to see him,
mhm.
getting that offense. But Texas is going to come in. It's like we're going to have another Tennessee. I feel like with them because it's just another orange team that used to be good.
That's perfect. That is
Yeah.
perfect. And they'll be squabbling about who the real UT is. That's already starting. So
Oh yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
that'll
So I'm horns down already on that. And because they don't want anybody to do horns down, that makes me want to do it more. It's like
that's,
L's down.
they can't come to the SEC and then fuss about that kind of stuff.
No, no, you don't come in soft. You got to come in and put up with it because we've all been tearing each other apart for decades. So they got to jump in.
You gotta put your own. You can't come in here with your own network. That's not gonna work. And you can't be
No,
whining about horns down. That's not gonna happen either.
that's right.
Sure. Um, when everybody goes to Big Blue Express. What you got in the works next? What you got another article coming? You going what you content you gonna have for the people next time they come to the site?
Yeah, really, I've been I'm wanting to do more player breakdowns and get into more detail about talking more about like Bully McCall and the kind of player that he could become. So that's really it. Another player we haven't mentioned today is Vito Tisdale. I'd like to dig into him and do a little work on him because he's and Justin Rogers. I mean, there's just one after another. We've got a lot of star power, so really, it's probably going to be more focused on player by player instead of a broad scheme of things of like looking at a broad schedule view or a broad view of just like a set of games or something. But it's going to be just really studying the players a little bit closer, and I hope to get up there in the press box this season. Last year didn't get to get in the press box and get to go to the interviews after the games, so that's really my big wish right now with Big Blue Express. The first game September 4th, that's my wife's birthday, and I already told her like I'm trying, I'm gonna get there. So so
Yeah,
I'm ready to go back, eat some of that press box popcorn. I always tweet about. I love that.
that's
I'm a big popcorn guy.
that's right. They have some good stuff in there, man.
They
They
do.
they sure do.
Yeah, they bring out the cookies. But yeah, that's really the focus is player by player more.
Hey, that sounds good. Sounds good. I got to tell you about our sponsor real quick before we wrap it up. It's La Terrain. Whether you're casual, whether have to put on a suit and get dressed up, you want to have a nice watch on. You don't always want to just check the time on your phone. LaTerrain.com, LaTouraine.com. They got different bands, they got different styles, the Red Crest, the Voyager. You can, mix and match and, customize however you want to do it. For the 96 team, the national championship team, they did a commemorative watch for Tony Delk and Walter McCarty and all those guys. So they can definitely put you in a nice watch that you'd like to have. So drop a hint to your wife, get you one for anniversary, or tell your friends about La Terrain. Follow them on Twitter and all forms of social media, and you definitely like the timepieces that they got over at La Terrain. Speaking of
Sounds
social
good.
media, man, Adam, where can everybody follow you at on the Twitters and the Facebooks and the Instagrams and all that good stuff?
Yeah, if you want to follow football coverage, Big Blue Express, just look that up on Facebook. On Twitter, our main account is at Big Blue Express. There's just one E, not Big Blue with an E and Express with an E. It's just Big Blue, and then it shares an E for the Express. And then myself, I'm at Business Raptor. Business is kind of I love the sports on the side. It's like a fun gig, but I'm really more into small business, and also I've got a podcast now that I'm doing with a buddy, and it's called Humans Doing Business. So you can look us up on there too, and see a little bit more about me. But all that my bio on Twitter is just loaded down with odd facts about me and places to reach me.
I'm glad you plugged the humans doing business because I saw where you got that on Twitter and then you invited me to like the Facebook page. So I've been able to
Oh
check out
yeah.
what you guys are
Yeah,
doing.
you
So glad
inspire
you
me.
plugged
I'm not kidding you. Just I've always wanted to do a podcast like that and to have an idea and just to do it. It's I'm trying to live life a little bit more aggressively now, not just think about things I want to do, but actually, pull the trigger and do them. So
it. Yeah.
that's good. Yeah, and I really appreciate your work and what you do. So
Oh man, I appreciate it. I
yeah, you
appreciate
inspire a
it.
lot of guys you probably don't even know about.
Man, I'm just I'm just a regular dude out here trying to do a little something too, man. But
Yeah. Yeah,
y'all
and happy
do.
anniversary to you too, by the way. I'm coming up on 20 years this year myself, so
Oh, cool.
shout
Yeah,
out to the family guys.
that's right, man. Congratulations. 20 years yesterday for my wife and I, and got our two little boys, and put a few little pictures. The first one back then we were dating, and then a couple when the kids were little, and then a couple more recent ones. But yeah, my better half, Katie, puts up with me, so
Oh yeah.
she's a sweetheart, and it's a bunch of people, have known 20 years. We got several friends of ours that, all around July, August, September, got married in '01. We didn't even know each other at the time, but have gotten to know them. And now, oh, y'all 20 years, we're 20 years as well. So what,
Yeah.
what day for you and Mrs. Griggs?
It's December 15th is when
Okay.
ours is. We were a winter wedding.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, but we're the same way though. I don't know what year you graduated high school. I graduated in '98, so I ended up with a lot of friends later in life that we were separate from each other. Our friend groups weren't together in the early 2000s, but we were getting married and having kids all at the same time. So
Yeah,
like
exactly.
everybody just falls in line to does the same thing.
Yeah, sure do hit all those phases of life at the same time or something
That's
like that.
right.
Sure, sure. And you're a dad like I'm a dad, so we'll just put a plug out to our boy Big Blue Drew at a Sea of Blue. We both been on that Kentucky Dad Pod,
Yeah,
talking about stuff that's not so much sports, but just the daily, what you're doing with the kids, what you're doing with the family, what you have for dinner, the whole day to day that everybody as parents are going through. So I listened to that episode where he had you on there, and he's had all the media types that are dads on there, and that's a cool idea that he come
it
up with.
is. I love it. It's a fun podcast, and I always love to hear who people's favorite TV dad is. You'll hear if you get repeated, but that kind of tells you what kind of dad a person is. If whoever their favorite TV dad, if they roll out with Al Bundy or somebody, like that's probably not a good dad.
He's been mentioned a few times.
He has, yeah. I worry about those guys.
Yeah, that's good stuff, and it's always cool to be able to talk to Drew and listen to Drew. And I think Justin Rowland just made his second appearance on there, and he's
Yeah, I
about to have
listened to that.
another kid. So he's about to have another, I think, to be six.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
6. Yeah, he's
So
that's a fertile couple.
yeah, yeah. So congratulations again to them. But yeah, it was fun listening to those different episodes as well. So I mean, I appreciate you hopping on tonight. Adam, I'm sorry about the little Zoom difficulties that we had, but hope everybody enjoys the episode and comes checks out all the football insight you put here on Bleav in Kentucky, man.
All right, I appreciate it. Thanks a lot, Vinny. Thanks for having me on.
All right, y'all take care. This has been Adam Griggs. For Adam, this is Vinny Hardy for another episode of Bleav in Kentucky, presented by Bet Online. We'll see everybody next week.